everybody, and welcome to the Makers of Minnesota. I'm here with Matt Dowgwillo, and we are talking about craft notes, Minnesota craft notes in particular, which is a passport. It is designed like a passport that is your window into all of the cool curated stuff that's happening in whatever the featured book is that you bought. So whether it's a coffee book or a cocktail book or a beer book, I love this passport because I think it opens people up to new things. How did you think of it?
Really, it was kind of a concept. I mean, I originally started with Thrifty Hipster. A lot of people kind of know that. And I recently sold it off and wanted to do something. I've always been involved in craft beer ever since. I think Thrifty Hipster was probably the first actual sponsor of the Autumn Brew Review, which was done by the Minnesota Brewers Guild.
Yeah.
And big event that everyone loves all the time. I helped the guys that do the St. Paul Summer Beer Fest line up their first venue space, and we were always like heavily involved in craft beer. The first big banner event we ever did was with Summit, and so I'd always really been close to craft beer and close to the scene, and I really liked guys like Dangerous Man. I used to drink beer with him, Rob Miller, and my buddy Dustin, who's a local DJ around town who DJ'd for Prince. He would always have these parties over at for May Day. And
the May Day parade.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I've just always been it's always been like a part of my life for my entire adult life, and getting a little bit older now. And
how did you feel like you were the guy that could curate these selections? I mean, what is it about your being a tastemaker or your team being a tastemaker that I should listen to you? I mean, you've got a lot of great breweries in here, and you've done a coffee book.
Yeah.
What do you think is a little extra that you bring versus, me reading it in Minneapolis St. Paul magazine or something?
Sure. Well, as far as craft beer goes, I mean, that's kind of my wheelhouse. I have my Cicerone certification and stuff like that too.
Well,
so
that's good to know.
I can speak about that.
Yeah.
But I honestly, my angle is it's funny because I think that I'm always a little bit ahead, at least on the beer side of things. I know recently now there's been a lot of discussion about how are all the fancy styles kind of destroying the craft beer industry? Like are all the fancy beers and all the drive,
beers.
The drive to like change beers every single week, so there's always like 10 new things on tap. Exactly. And I've recently been reading some articles where because Craft Notes has been around for 4 years now, and we've been saying we really try to publish the flagships, the idea of like what's the best representation of what you do, because it's a tribute to like what people do, what they make, and obviously the refining and the perfecting of those recipes and those kind of ideas are the result of that, right? Like it's what they do that's the best, and it's not like you can make beer, anybody can make beer, and you can call it something new. But
these are the signature best items.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that, I've been saying it for a long time, and obviously we've been trying to publish that with Craft Notes, is that it's about, what you do that's best. It's not the craziest, it's the best. The thing that like really makes you notable for what you do. And and now you read articles and people are kind of starting to come around to that, and you see like this swing where people are starting to go back to lagers. And I guess
Pilsners.
And one of my favorite breweries is Uda Pils. That's in our volume 2, and it's they're just making really good traditional beers. They're not doing anything crazy. They're not doing anything like really funky or really like strange. And, they're standard, high quality, always consistent. Summit, same deal.
So what's your favorite Uda Pils right now?
Oh, I love their alt beer. I think their alt beer is actually one of my favorite beers around right now.
So I think what I'm hearing you say is that you're taking this experience and distilling it down so that you get a great experience. You don't have to have the sampler of 10 beers. You go right to the best one based on your team's experience and recommendation.
Yeah. And we try to pick, like, the whole idea of Craft Notes was to be a thoughtful exploration of the most committed breweries and distilleries. And the sad truth is, especially as craft beer has kind of become more of a popular thing,
right?
Like there's been lots of breweries opening.
Oh my gosh, we have so many now.
Yeah, and there's a lot of guys like Dangerous Man or Bent Paddle or Summit, or a lot of those guys, like they were kind of the pioneers because they were the most dedicated to it, and before it was a niche, before it was actually like this commercially viable thing. And I think I love, like, one of the stories people don't ever really think of, like Moto I as being one of the coolest local craftsmen, but what that guy has done for just
for sake
and for beer in even across the nation. Like, he's actually got a separate company. Nobody knows this, but he's actually got a separate company, and he was the first guy to ever actually be allowed to export sake grade rice outside of Japan.
I did know that.
Yeah.
But I think that people there's so many cool maker stories in the Twin Cities, right?
Yeah.
And so many neat things that are happening. And so what I liked about Craft Notes is for $25, I can get this book, and it's like a curated itinerary of all of these places that I can experience with my friends. It's a great value. I mean, you get a free beer at every place you go.
Exactly.
You get a stamp. So that's, I think I read it was $130 value. What I love about you guys is I trust your recommendations too. I did not know you were a sister-owned, but I knew you know a lot about beer. But as we move into like the coffee market, is it sort of similar? Do you look for the same kind of connoisseur?
Yeah. So with coffee, I mean, I've always been a big coffee drinker, but honestly, and I see for me, it's more like lifestyle and the connection between the lifestyle, like the fact, like, my ideal consumer is the person who is interested in exploring things that are of high quality and trying them out and going to somewhere new. And, obviously the recommendation, we're trying to, so that you get the right thing when you go there, but, it's really about like giving you the excuse to go try something new. And when you go there, you kind of know a little backstory on who the people are, how they make the product, whatever. And, so for coffee, I would say that I'll admit that like coffee probably wasn't 100% my wheelhouse like beer, but we partnered with somebody who did, and she's a local Instagrammer from I Love Coffee Twin Cities, and Jessica Dudas, and she does know a lot about coffee, and she's been to all the shops and everything. So just how I had been to all the breweries and was able to select some of my favorites.
So that was smart that you found someone.
She was able to, she had gone into all the coffee shops and was able to select some of her favorites.
Yeah, because it's, to be honest, if I go to a coffee shop, I'm always going to probably order the vanilla latte or the miel. Well, if you've had that 25 times, you probably have a really good instinct of where it's good and where it's not good.
Right.
And there is a lot of similarity between like culture of coffee, culture of beer, culture of craft cocktail, culture of cheese. It's kind of a person that's inquisitive and willing to try new things and wants to be that person that tells their friends like, oh, you have to try this, blue
totally.
cheese. It's amazing.
Yeah, and I think, and that's what we kind of try to answer. That's the whole goal of Craft Notes. We're not trying to be like super in depth. We're trying to more like focus on a couple of key things that that each place does that's really unique and different, and giving them, giving consumers the opportunity to kind of know that little extra little side story, that little back thing that makes them seem a little bit, oh, I know this about my favorite place, about this place that we're going to,
right?
And makes them a little bit cooler with their friends. And like hopefully when they go there, they actually have a little bit richer experience. So
when I get my Craft Notes book, you also have an app. Why do I need the app as well? Are they companions?
Yeah. So actually, when we started, the original goal was the mobile app. But I really like the tangible product.
It's really well designed and very nice looking.
Yeah, we partnered with some local artists, and they do all this, design work and screen printing. The way it kind of works is we choose the places, and they choose the look. Yep. Yeah, I mean, overall, like, we wanted to make it artistic and a good experience. Like, my goal would be that people would hang on to the books and really like kind of use them as a guide. We never repeat places, so the goal is to not. Each book is kind of designed for a specific focus. So our volume 1 was like, our very first thing. We were kind of trying to say this is the absolute best representation of the local craft scene. Like, if you buy this book, you will go to and know about all of the original founders of Minnesota craft scene, and it's got places in Duluth like Bent Paddle and Summit and Dangerous Man, kind of all the original like people, as well as the Mona Y, which I mentioned. And then volume 2, we tried to go a little bit more off the beaten path. So we had places, and we're beer and cocktails on all our books. But we wanted to go a little bit more spread out, kind of these islands of cool. We actually started with the concept of focusing on women businesses.
I wondered about that, because there are some featured in the book.
Because it's a really we knew it was a unique thing and that there weren't a lot of them. But then when we started working on it, we realized there was actually very, very few of them. You know? And so we ended up broadening it to a little bit more like off the beaten path. But like volume 2 is actually my favorite. It's got the most exceptional places, in my opinion, that are probably you haven't gone to as much, you know?
So if we have the volumes, and then again, how does it work in tandem with the app? Do you need the app instead?
They work independently of each other. The goal of the mobile app, I mean, we're still kind of in a phase 1 right now.
Sure.
But the goal is to really make it more of a community, more of a group of people that really love going out. And so the book would be more for your occasional person, like, you know, if you're older and have kids and you don't get to go out very much.
Yeah, or a good giftable. It's hard to gift an
it's
app.
A great gift. And it's kind of like a real, I mean, it looks really nice. It tells these cool stories. And like, you've got friends coming into town. You've got, you know, bridesmaids that you got to get a gift for or something. It's like, sweet, here's all of the best stuff, you know, and all of the best things. And they're great at, whenever you give it to someone, they're going to go out. They're going to have awesome time at all these places because every place is exceptional. And, you know, would you rather have a bunch of stuff that you don't need, or would you rather go have fun with your friends and family, you know? And
friends, I mean, that's kind
of like, and that's kind of the idea behind Craft Notes. And the mobile app is simply, a further extension of that. The goal being a little bit more for people that are going out more often, because that's actually, that's where the real value comes in for them.
Right.
But like, I mean, honestly, the difference is there's really kind of no difference in how it works. We still try to have a lot of good photography, a lot of good story. It's a little bit cleaner in the mobile app, where it's just a little bit more of a screen print in the books. But, we try to like reinforce the points again of like what they do that's unique, what they do that's different. And again, make sure that when you go there, you have a richer experience.
When you mentioned a couple of local places that you like, you mentioned Moto Eye, you mentioned Utapils. What is a place that people would be surprised to see you sitting at?
Surprised in what way?
Just like, wow, maybe because it's lowbrow, or it's like Denny's or something that would just be not something that you would expect from a curated connoisseur such as yourself.
Oh, geez. That's a tough question. I mean, I've got a lot of favorites in the books. Like, I never really make it up to Lupulin. It's kind of a weird brewery space because
why is it weird?
It's just like kind of in a strip mall, and it's a little bit far away, but they make exceptional beers. So, that's cool. And they've got a really good following, and they're pretty well known.
When you're at home after 5 beers, what do you eat?
What do I eat? I actually do like to cook a lot. So I make a lot of Arabic food. We had lamb kebabs yesterday.
So what's your late night go-to guilty pleasure when you've been out too late and you've had too many high proof IPA beers?
Nachos.
Do you always have the stuff on hand for those?
Oh yeah. You go to like La Perla and get the chips, and you go to the Mexican grocery and get the right meats, and I make my own salsa. But
that's nice. Yeah. Do you like green chorizo or the regular red? Have you ever had green chorizo?
I don't know if I've had red.
Oh, if you're a connoisseur of nachos, and it's great. They have it at El Burrito Mercado. It's chorizo that's made with cilantro instead of the smoky paprika flavor.
Yeah.
So it's really fresh tasting. It's great to grill it. You should really give it a try if you get a chance.
Yeah, that sounds good, actually.
Yeah.
I always go to the one that's, I don't even know the name, Marissa's, maybe, but the one on like 28th and Nicollet.
Sure.
They sell the Sada and Cecina. Cecina's great because you just throw it right on and it's done in 3 minutes and you got tacos.
All of the prepared meats that they do in the Mexican groceries are so great.
I know. Yeah, we do that. We do a lot of events. We've been working with the Saints for a decade now, and like one of the things we do for Craft Notes is we invite members to come out and we do tailgating events.
Oh, fun.
So we partner with a brewery. We bring tailgating, and most of the time we grill tacos because that's seemingly become the favorite. And then I don't know. One day I think I have 2 kids now, and when they're a little bit older, I think instead of giving them allowance, I'm going to make them like learn the value of $1, and so we're going to go to markets and make my jerk chicken. Got to come up with a fun name of it. I keep thinking of like a jerk like my wife.
That's
like,
funny.
Would that be like one plate? A jerk like our president? That'd be another plate.
That's great.
The biggest plate, probably.
I just had the best jerk chicken at Able Brew House.
With
John Liffley's Animale Barbecue. So good. All right, so you've got Craft Notes. We're excited about that. If you want to be part of the community, you can pick up books. They're all over and retail at the Twin Cities, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they're we've got a lot of patina. We've got some at Kowalski's. We've got some at I Like You is a really fun store.
I just
and
saw
they got
them
a lot
there.
of really cool stuff too. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm assuming you can go and order them online as well.
Yep, online at craftnotes.net. And our mobile app, you just go to any of the app stores and search for Craft Notes. And if you use the code HiFriend, you go to sign up for an account, use the promo code HiFriend, and you get 2 free drinks.
All right, that sounds awesome. Thanks for being with me today.
Yeah.
It's Matt Dowgwillo. It's Craft Notes. That'll be the next one, the British version.
Someday if we're there.
Yeah, it is Craft Notes. You can pick them up at your favorite Twin Cities retailers or again at craftnotes.net.